military intelligence officer assigned to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, Lieutenant Steve Rogers. Lieutenant Steve, great to have you on the program tonight. I've got to ask you why, a year into this, rising crime out of control, why are we still having this conversation? We're seeing some on the left saying that, this defund the police movement, it's not working out so well. Why is this still an issue?
Well, the fact of the matter is, as a result of the policies of the Democrats, and there's the common denominator, the Democrat Party elected officials, there are not going to be any police left to defund. The fact of the matter is that the retirements are high, police academies are low, the crime is surging. It continues to feed itself. You've got the Democrats, for some reason, feel that they have to appease a certain segment of their party, thinking that they're going to win, political support. Fact of the matter is, they're going to end up losing a lot of support. And let me say this to you. Right now, the crime surges across the country are isolated in most of the cities where it's mostly populated. As soon as it gets into the more suburban areas and the more wealthier areas, you're going to see some real quick action. There'll be a big turnaround.
Right. That I think is a very salient point. And unfortunately, it is likely to spread to the suburbs. It's not going to just stay confined to the city. Steve, we mentioned the polling in New York City, but I want to ask you about some national polling, because the left wants us to believe a narrative that minorities are anti-police, that they feel targeted by police. But in a nationwide Gallup poll, they asked minorities if they want police presence to stay the same, to be reduced, stay the same, or increase. For blacks, 81% said stay the same or increase. For Hispanics, 83% said stay the same in their neighborhoods or increase. Your thoughts about those poll results?
Well, I really don't have to think about it, because I have walked into some of the neighborhoods and spoke to some of the minority groups who citizens who live in those neighborhoods. Look, they want cops. Let's take Chicago. I mean, young kids are being killed at random on the streets every week. The people want the police. We used to have community policing, where there was a great gap bridge between the police and the community. Everyone was working together, and as a result, there was a low crime rate. So these politicians that are saying, well, minorities want the cops out. Look, the minorities, like anyone else, want police in their communities to protect them. And it's going to backfire pretty badly during the next election cycle. I believe that. I don't like to talk politics about these things, because it's about public safety. But, Steve, as you said, the reality is a political reality, and it's going to backfire on them very badly.
Well, you mentioned the crime flowing into the suburbs, and I don't know if you heard, Steve, but the city of Atlanta, in this neighborhood called Buckhead, it's a pretty nice part of town. They're moving to actually separate from the city of Atlanta and have their own police force. Your thoughts?
Well, I've heard a lot of that, where communities are looking to not only separate and create their own police forces, but to hire security personnel to patrol streets. Look, the fact of the matter is, and I've said it all along, there's going to come a time when the police can no longer protect the people. The time is now. But the problem will be solved when the burglars, the rapists, and the murderers, and those causing mayhem are going to go right into those suburban communities. By the way, who's living in those suburban communities? The very people that are pushing to defund police. They haven't been affected yet. When they do, well, you're going to see a big turnaround.
Let me ask you, Steve, how we tap into the youth in some of these communities, some of these inner cities especially. They're so influenced by celebrities, by those on the left, those on social media, about defunding the police are bad. How do we kind of get to the root of this movement so that the next generation realizes that the police are there to help them?
It's a great question, and I've got the answer for you, because back in the 70s and 80s, I helped develop some of the community policing methodologies here in New Jersey, and we were able to get church pastors and ministers, people from all walks of life, faith organizations, business, industry, education, law enforcement. We all came together, and you know what we did? We worked with our young people, and we became a team vis-a-vis community policing. Cops in the schools walking around. I remember having pizza with kids during lunch in my uniform. So the fact of the matter is, you got cops walking the neighborhood. If Johnny's sick, if Mr. and Mrs. Jones are having an argument, domestic violence, who's on drugs, but you were proactive. That's how we do it. We used to have adopt a cop. What do you think about that? Kids adopting cops. So you bring the community together. That's how we solve the problem. And guess what? It doesn't cost anything but time.
Well, Steve, thank you for your service as law enforcement, and thank you so much for being on the program tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.